Fact focus. Trump misrepresents facts about coal as he signs executive orders to boost its use. President Donald Trump on Tuesday signed 4 executive orders designed to boost the U.S. coal industry, outlining steps to protect coal-fired power plants and expedite leases for coal mining on U.S. land. But in touting the benefits of coal, he misrepresented several aspects of its safety and use. Here's a look at the facts. Claim: I call it beautiful, clean coal. I told my people, never use the word coal unless you put beautiful, clean before it. The facts. The production of coal is cleaner now than it has been historically, but that doesn't mean it's clean. Planet-warming carbon dioxide emissions from the coal industry have decreased over the past 30 years, according to the U.S. Energy Information Administration. Energy lobbyist Scott Siegel said that the relative statement that coal-fired electricity is cleaner than ever before is true, particularly when emissions are measured per unit of electricity produced. And yet, coal production worldwide still needs to be reduced sharply to address climate change, according to United Nations-backed research. Along with carbon dioxide, burning coal emits sulfur dioxide and nitrogen oxides that contribute to acid rain, smog, and respiratory illnesses, according to the EIA. Over the past 15 years, the U.S. has seen a major shift from coal to natural gas for electricity use, a key reason U.S. carbon emissions have declined over that period. Coal once provided more than half of U.S. electricity production, but its share dropped to about 16% in 2023, down from about 45% as recently as 2010. Natural gas provides about 43% of U.S. electricity, with the remainder from nuclear energy and renewables such as wind, solar, and hydropower. Energy Secretary Chris Wright acknowledged during his confirmation hearing in January that the burning of fossil fuels, coal, oil, and natural gas causes climate change. That's because the combustion of fossil fuels is drastically increasing the amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, warming the planet. Trump: it's cheap, incredibly efficient, high density, and it's almost indestructible. The facts. Coal is one of the most expensive sources of new power generation. New coal plants would produce electricity at nearly $90 per megawatt hour on average, though no one in the U.S. is currently building or planning to build a new coal plant. According to estimates from the EIA, standalone solar without battery storage is the cheapest source of new power generation at about $23 per megawatt hour on average for new projects connecting to the grid in 2028, the EIA estimates. That includes tax credits and other subsidies under the 2022 Inflation Reduction Act, which help reduce the cost of renewable energy. New natural gas plants are expected to produce electricity at nearly $43 per megawatt hour, according to the estimates. A nonpartisan climate policy think tank, Energy Innovation, found that 99% of existing U.S. coal plants are more expensive to keep running than if they're replaced with local solar, wind, and battery storage. Americans immediately begin saving money when coal plants retire and communities transition to clean energy, according to Energy Innovation's 2023 report. Trump has promised to cut American energy bills in half. This is yet another way he's forcing Americans to pay more, Greg Alvarez, a spokesperson with Energy Innovations, wrote in an email Tuesday. Coal plants operated at full power about 42.4% of the time in 2023, according to EIA's most recent data. In comparison, nuclear and geothermal plants ranked highest, at about 93% and 69.4%, respectively. Claim: the value of untapped coal in our country is 100 times greater than the value of all the gold at Fort Knox. The facts: although the U.S. does have an abundance of coal, its estimated value is not nearly as high as Trump claims. There are currently about 147.3 million troy ounces of gold stored at Fort Knox with a book value of approximately $6.2 billion, according to the U.S. Treasury. Gold closed on the open market Tuesday, trading at $2,990.20 per troy ounce, making its market value much higher, at about $440.6 billion. A troy ounce, a weight measurement for precious metals, is approximately 31.1 grams. There were about 469.1 billion short tons of coal in U.S. reserves as of January 1st, 2024, according to the EIA, though only about 53% of that was available for mining. EIA estimates its value at approximately $598.3 billion. That's more than all of the gold at Fort Knox, but far short of 100 times that amount. A short ton, also known as a U.S. ton, is equivalent to 2,000 pounds. Trump, they're opening up coal plants all over Germany. The facts, that's not accurate. According to Germany's economy ministry, 18 coal-fired power plants were shut down in 2024. No new coal-fired power plants will be built, a spokesman for the ministry said Wednesday in response to a question about Trump's claims. The spokesperson noted the country plans to phase out coal-fired power generation by 2038 at the latest. Germany did bring some coal-fired plants back online in 2022 and 2023 to deal with natural gas shortages after Russia invaded Ukraine. The government allowed up to 6 gigawatts of coal-fired power plants to return from the reserve to the market for a limited period of time. They were taken offline by the end of March 2024, according to Agora Energiewende, a Berlin-based climate policy think tank. With coal executive orders, Trump returns to the scene of the con. Just as the coal companies bled coal workers dry, today it is Trump and his party that exploit them with false promises. As candidate and as president, Donald Trump has spun promises of a revived coal industry and limitless jobs. He has promised the residents of coal country, who have struggled so much in the last couple of decades, a prosperity greater than they ever experienced. In his first presidency, he came nowhere close to fulfilling that pledge. And now he's at it again. While the president does everything in his power to destroy one of the most critical and fastest growing industries the United States has, green energy, he wants Americans to believe that our future depends on burning more coal. On Tuesday, the White House gathered a group of coal miners in their work clothes and hard hats to stand behind Trump while he announced a pair of executive orders. The first one orders the Attorney General to take all appropriate action to stop the enforcement of state laws meant to address climate change, a phrase the order used only in scare quotes. The second orders government departments to rescind any regulations limiting coal development and promote the use of the dirtiest form of fossil fuel energy. We're bringing back an industry that was abandoned despite the fact that it was just about the best, Trump said. We're going to tap that magnificent potential to give our people the glorious future that they deserve, better than they've ever had in the past. If anyone listening to Trump believed him, they have awfully short memories. That's because Trump made exactly the same promise in 2016, that he would revive the coal industry and bring back all the jobs that had disappeared. I love the miners, and we're going to put the miners back to work, he said at a rally that year. For years later, near the end of his first term, he claimed, we're putting our great coal miners back to work. But it wasn't true. Even though Trump rolled back environmental regulations, encouraged coal mining on federal lands, and even put a coal industry lobbyist in charge of the Environmental Protection Agency, he couldn't stop the steady decline of coal. There were fewer coal jobs when he left office in 2021 than there had been when he was inaugurated the first time. Today, only 40,000 Americans work in the entire coal mining industry. Trump's executive order notes that the coal industry has historically employed hundreds of thousands of Americans. That is true, but it will never be true again. No matter what the administration does, though environmental rules were one cause of the long decline of coal jobs, their role was only secondary. The key factors were automation and, most importantly, competition from other energy sources. The natural gas fracking boom crushed coal, providing an alternative that is just as cheap and plentiful, but creates less pollution. And now renewables are outcompeting coal on price as well. As late as 2007, America got half its electricity from coal. That figure is now down to 16%. It isn't surprising that people in coal country feel betrayed. Their fathers and brothers worked dangerous jobs to provide Americans with power, then watched as those jobs disappeared and their communities suffered. Just as the coal companies bled them dry, today it is Trump and his party that exploit them with false promises. But Trump loves coal. He believes it's strong, while he sees renewables as weak. At a black tie fundraiser Tuesday evening, Trump told the assembled donors that his coal miner supporters don't need a different economic future. They love to dig coal, he said. That's what they want to do. They don't want to do gadgets and widgets and gadgets. They don't want to build cell phones with their hands. They're big, strong hands. His executive order touts the importance of coal-based infrastructure to power data centers to meet the electricity needs of AI and high-performance computing operations. In Trump's vision of the future, miners pull coal from the ground to power artificial intelligence, eliminating jobs and enriching the tech barons who are helping Trump dismantle the government we all rely on. In all three of his presidential campaigns, Trump got his greatest support from Wyoming and West Virginia, the two largest coal-producing states. In 2024, he won them by margins of 46 and 42 points, respectively. But what did the residents of coal communities get in Trump's first term for the votes they gave him? The same thing they'll get in his second term. Nothing. We are never going back to the days when hundreds of thousands of people worked in the mines, and anyone who says we can, including the president, is lying. It's a lie many people would like to believe, which is understandable. But 4 years from now, they'll have nothing but another handful of broken promises. Restarting coal plants after Trump's executive orders makes no economic sense, report says. U.S. President Donald Trump is advocating for increased coal production in the United States. However, reviving decommissioned coal plants to meet this goal makes no economic sense. The Institute for Energy Economics and Financial Analysis said on Thursday, Trump's executive orders could potentially delay the closure of coal-fired power plants and encourage the restart of 102 recently shut coal-fired units, IEFA said in a report. According to the report, the units, which have a total generating capacity of 36,566 megawatts, were closed over the past 4 years. Very few of them, however, are reliable candidates for a restart. The median age of the retired plants is 56 years, and as coal plants age, maintenance costs also rise, subsequently pushing up generation costs. In addition to these costs, any unit considering a restart would need to complete a sizable and expensive backlog of required maintenance, IEFA said. The global think tank, focused on the energy industry, added that Trump's plan to meet rising energy demand with coal-generated power ignores the fact that most of the still operating facilities are running below their capacity. Coal-burning plants now account for less than 20% of U.S. electricity generation, a drop from 50% in 2000, with existing coal plants contributing power to the grid only about 40% of the time. Most utilities have also shifted towards cheaper and more efficient forms of electricity generation, such as solar, wind, and battery power. To cater to the increasing power demand driven by data centers, the report mentioned, spending taxpayer and/or ratepayer dollars to reopen closed coal plants with uncertain maintenance needs and unpredictable future performance makes no sense, economic or otherwise, IEFA said.